Hey, welcome to the conversation, outspoken opinionated. Of course, I am your host, Edwin Maya. Today, conversation is going to focus around music, but we're really going to be specific, and we're going to talk about gospel music with Jada Mayson. Jada is getting ready, so we are going to, just so you guys, the great things is going on here with conversation. We are currently on Spotify. For those who haven't noticed, on our Instagram page, we have downloaded our previous podcast onto Spotify. We are on YouTube, of course. We're asking you guys to follow us on YouTube, subscribe, The Conversation Outspoken Opinionated. We are on Instagram, The Conversation Outspoken Opinionated. We're asking you to go ahead and follow us also on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, and like us on Facebook. We are on Spotify, so you can go. If you don't have Spotify, we're asking you to download Spotify. I believe it's free. You can listen to us there, and it's going great. Today is an amazing day. It's a memorable day in the States, and I think around the world. President Biden went ahead and signed that June 18th will be. It's a national federal holiday. So for those who are in the federal government working, you have off tomorrow. So I think this is a great start. I know a lot of us have different perspectives on what is it when it comes to enslavement, and what it is that is this day even going to benefit Black people? Is this day even is this another day that the white race is going to use to exploit Black people? So I think there's a lot of conversation that can be had around June 19th. And I think, you guys should start the conversation. I was having a conversation with somebody earlier who said, there are a lot of African Americans, a lot of people of color who work for corporations who will not give them the day off tomorrow. So I think that's a conversation that need to be had. If you need to speak to your CEO, if you need to speak to the person who's in charge of diversity, equity, and inclusion, you need to do that. But I think this is an opportunity for people to have this conversation. And I think this is the time where we do have the conversation, letting our kids know, our friends know why June 18th is a memorable day in the United States. And I think if we can really understand what it is, and we can come and have these kind of conversations, that would be great. But just for a little segue, like I said earlier, like a little sideway, like I said earlier today, we are going to be talking about music, specifically gospel music. And why we are talking about gospel music is because I spent close to 16 years of my adult life singing in a church choir. It was called New Creation. Our music director was Adolphus Linen Walker. And I did that for 16 years, and it was amazing. I met amazing people. I have never seen the arrangement of songs the way we did it in my life. My favorite moment in a choir was the first time we sang Matthew 28. For those who are in music, when you hear Matthew 28, you know what I'm talking about. And so, we have Jada Mayson, who's going to be joining us soon, who's really we're going to deep dive into gospel music, into the intricacy of gospel music, why certain people do travel over to gospel music. I don't know if you had the opportunity to go to our Instagram page, but we'll put up a video of Jada singing a song by Andrew Day. And if you haven't heard it, I will ask you to go and watch it. And her vocals and her range and everything that makes her a solo artist is amazing. And so, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're also going to talk about her life. Like I said, I posted on Instagram, I think she's the package. She's an attorney. She's a music director for her local church. She's a solo artist. She's a wife. She's a mom of 3. So this is a career woman who's doing so many other things that people won't consider to be possible. And so this is why I love her. This is why I'm so excited to have her. She's going to be with us soon. So you guys know we're just talking about all the things again. Like I said, if you don't know, if you had not gone to subscribe, we are on Instagram, The Conversation. There's a conversation with _N_ Facebook. The Conversation Outspoken and Opinionated on YouTube. The Conversation Outspoken and Opinionated. And we just started being on Spotify. So if you are, you're working out, whatever it is that you're doing, we have some great conversations. You can listen to us on Spotify. It's great. I'm asking you all to go to our YouTube page, subscribe to the Conversation Outspoken Opinionated. You will get notifications when we do, before we start a broadcast and everything else that starts with what we do. On Instagram, we're asking you to go and follow us on The Conversation Outspoken and Opinionated on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Like us on Facebook. Yes. And so the conversation today is really, really, really going to focus on gospel music. We're brought in Jada to just give us the nitty-gritty of what it is, what gospel music entails. I think a lot of people don't realize that gospel music is just a genre of music. And there are people like me who love gospel music. I love gospel hip hop. I love gospel trap. I don't know. There's just something about the story. I think it's because the songs have a story, and there are a lot of songs that I can relate to, similar with pop music or R&B or whatever other genre of music. But gospel music for me is it's my thing. If you're in my car, you will most likely hear gospel music. CDs that I have on my iPad and everything that I do when it comes to music is most likely gospel music, because I think that's my kind of music. I think that's the genre that I like. Nothing specific, nothing trying to be a holy or trying to be extra spiritual. It's just that's the genre of music I like. When it comes to other kind of music, people know I like pop music. People will be like, you like pop music? Yes, I do. But today is really going to be focused on gospel music, and Jada is going to be joining us soon. And so, we're really going to have a great conversation. I think a lot of us don't really talk about the music that we listen to, how important this music affect us, it affect our kids. What you listen to really affects you, because those are the things that you listen to. I don't know if you guys have realized, but if you're in a store and music is playing, when you leave that store, there is a 99.9 chance, it's scientifically proven, that you'll walk out of that store singing that song, or you will be humming that song, and you won't understand. I'm like, why did I get this song in my head? And it's because you've been listening to it. And what has happened is you have fed your brain, and your brain has registered that those words mean something to you, or those words have been played over and over again, and your brain actually absorbed it, and now you have it in your head. And so that's some of the importance of music. I think a lot of people don't understand how important music is. There are people who, who their music therapy. People do go to music therapists who help them, with music. There's certain kind of music that they listen to. For us, like I said, who have tried to sing vocals, music is important because they tell you to listen to different kinds of music. Don't just focus on a genre that you are used to, but just focus on other kinds of music. If you know any musician, they will tell you people who do have great ears are amazing musicians. And having a great ear doesn't mean that there's something going on with your ear, but people who can listen to music and pick up their part. So if you aren't familiar in any music group, in any kind of group of music or whatever it is, there are different kinds of parts like soprano, alto, tenor, bass. There is some baritone in there. And so for people who have great ear, once they listen to the music, they can pick up their part. Not only their part based on whatever section they're in, but there are some people who play instruments. They can pick up their instrument sound. So I know somebody who plays saxophone, and when he listens to music, he can literally tap into if there's a saxophone in that music, in that recording, he can tap into it. So there is just different kinds and amazing different things that goes to music that I think it's important. And I think being that music has been an intricate part of my life. Like I said, 16 years of my adult life, I've been around music. I had the opportunity, I said earlier, to be in a choir. At that time, it was called the Bethel World Outreach Ministries, and I sang with the choir, and I did a lot of things with music. So that's why I said, since this month, I'm really sharing things that people really didn't know about me before I started all this plenty talking on this platform. And so, the week before, we talked about death and the essence of death, the importance of death, what people need to understand. Have you prepared? Has your family prepared? And last week, we talked about prayer. And I brought two people on this platform last week who are 100% instrumental in my spiritual upbringing. I have Pastor Peabody, who is, like I said, from my Sunday school teacher to my youth pastor to my mentor, and then I had my friend Ram. And so, it's been great. And so today we're going to be talking about music, specifically gospel music, with an amazing, amazing, amazing soloist, an amazing arranger. I mean, if you listen to the words of her song, I'm just like, oh, why is she talking to me? I had to put that in Liberian English for those who are watching, who are Liberian. Yes, but so like I said to you guys earlier, I have this amazing guest today, and I want to bring her into the broadcast. So without further ado, welcome, Jada.
Thank you.
So good to have you here.
It is lovely to be here. Thank you.
I am super excited. Welcome to the conversation. It's outspoken and it's opinionated. So you can say whatever you want to say out here. I like to put the disclaimer out. We are fine. There will be no editing. You can say whatever you want to say. But it's really good to have you. I was just telling the people that, I had a surprise for you, but then I booked the surprise. But I'm going to show it to you. I still have this. And I have the other one, the first one, because if you remember, the first listening or CD lunch I went to was at a church, I believe in East Orange. I think it was called Calvary Baptist.
That's right.
Why I remember it is because there's a church in Liberia called Calvary Baptist.
Yes.
That's why I remember it. And so that's why I was like, man, I was looking all over, but I couldn't find that one, and I had this one. But it's so good to have you. I'm super pumped to have this conversation with you. I say thank you for honoring our invitation, for being here. And so I'm just going to go straight in and ask you, how are you doing?
You know what? I am fantastic.
Uh-oh.
Yes. I tell God, thank you. I cannot complain, not once, not one bit. I'm grateful. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm blessed. Thank you, EJ.
And it's good to have you. So how have you been with COVID, the lockdown? You got 3 kids homeschooling. How has that been?
Oh God, you know what? I've decided to look at everything, in a positive, from a positive mindset, but it was not easy at the beginning. Okay. At the beginning, it was extremely difficult. We had to try to balance the children's schooling with our work. And we were actually in the middle of a move. We had just sold our house and we were moving into a new house, and we were in a hotel when COVID hit. And I was the one thing that I cannot get this story out of my mind. I was doing work on my laptop, holding my baby, my 1-year-old baby. And I was doing something on the laptop. The little boy just went like this, boop, and wasted the juice out on my laptop. My laptop went black, went blank. I started crying. I had a meltdown. It was a mess. But to God be the glory. We looked at it and we looked at the plus and the positives, because we're always running and going and going and going. So we had an opportunity to take a minute to pause and breathe and to enjoy each other, enjoy the children, and just savor those moments. And so although it was a very scary time, a very devastating time, it was a blessing for us, because we recognized all the little moments that we usually miss when we're always rushing. So.
And I like that you said that, because I know for me that what happened. I have 1. You have 3. I just got 1, and I was like, Lord, I'm gonna go.
And he's so cute. Your 1 is so
pulling out my hair. I would throw all kinds of things for homeschooling, and then me doing my work. And there are days I got to run into the office in the middle of the day because the kind of work that I do. And so it was crazy. But at the end of the day, I like what you said, because it really gave us the opportunity to spend more time with each other. So there's things that I learned about my son over the last couple of months. I don't think I would probably learn that, because he spent 8 hours, probably 6 to 7 hours at school. I'm at work. When we meet, it's just everybody get home, get ready, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I was going to ask you to do something, but then I forgot. And then I just thought about it when I look at my notes, because you wear a lot of hats. There's a lot of hats about you. So I was going to tell you to have the church hats, 6 or 7 different church hats behind you. And so every time we talk about one, you can just put one on and let the people know. You have one? Yes. That's what we're going to do. But anyway, just tell the people who you are, because I've been saying it, but I think they will need to hear it from you, because I think it's what? They need to know who Jada Mayson is. And so who are you?
Man, EJ, you know what? I am a multifaceted, multi-layered woman who loves God, who loves people, who loves to serve. And those loves, manifest themselves in different ways. They manifest themselves in music. They manifest themselves in my career. They manifest themselves in what I do with the church. So I am a multifaceted, multi-layered woman who loves God and who loves God's people.
Amazing. So, she I would say she gave out the, like spiritual, stuff. She is an attorney. She is a mom. She is a wife, a soloist, and a music director in her local church.
Too much.
All those things, plus other things, I probably know you have other things going on. But, how have you been able to juggle all of that? Mom, attorney, all that. Oh, let me ask you one question. Did you ever had to do like a deposition via Zoom?
Well, I haven't done a deposition via Zoom, but I've done a hearing via Zoom.
Oh, yeah. So how was that? Before we go into, I just want to know how that worked because I had to do one, and I was just like, these people turning my camera off.
It's interesting. Well, first of all, we do court. We've done court via Zoom this entire time. So wow. I've been in court this entire time. But I did have the very early on. I had several. We had detention hearings, several of them. And so at my first one, I was a little nervous because it was on Zoom. I didn't even know how to work the Zoom and everything, but it was good. I was very excited because it's like anytime something new is happening, I jump at that opportunity. So the hearing was good. We won. My client won, and then, exactly. So it was good. So after that, it just kind of became, par for the course.
Yeah. And so right before I went into my little side question, I was saying, you're a mom, you're an attorney, you're a wife, you're a musician, you all that great stuff. How have you been able to self-brand as an attorney, as a soloist, and then as a music director? How have you been able to self-brand in those different parts of your life?
Yeah, it's really interesting you asked that because that's something I ask myself all the time. I'm like, Jada, I mean, you're doing many things and they all are apparently, or they seem, different and disparate and in separate lanes, right? And so how do they all come together? And the answer, I don't want to be over spiritual, but I look at Deborah, right, in the Bible, and Deborah was a judge, she was a wife, she was a soldier, she was so many different things, and she did all of them well. And so I also look at, Jesus, and he was, our Lord, our Savior, all those different things that he did them extremely well. And so that's those are my mentors in that regard. And I recognize that all of the different aspects of my life, they really boil down to service. I'm serving my family, I'm serving my children, my husband, I'm serving, the church in whichever capacity I'm functioning. And I'm serving God's people when I'm, gifting whatever God has given to me, which is in song and music. So it really boils down to service. I think that's when you boil the whole thing down, all the different roles, you look at the, the sort of, in math, they used to say the common denominator is service. And it is also empowerment and it's education. So whether I'm in the courtroom or I'm on stage somewhere, I look to make sure that I'm serving, I make sure I'm lifting people up. So.
Yeah, and that's great. So I'm gonna go into, the music about you. And so that video is amazing. I have it on my YouTube page. Everybody that watched it, like, text me, like, where is she? I'm like, what? Are you guys kidding me? You don't know who she, like, are you guys like really serious?
You gotta do a better job. You guys gotta do a better job. I was somewhere, I don't want to step on you. I was somewhere and there were some Liberians, and the Liberian girl was like, oh, I've never seen Liberian ladies that can really sing. So I was like, oh no, we have some. And she now responded, she was like, oh, I thought you were Nigerian. I said, girl, no.
I'm like, first of all, then I had to clarify. I'm like, that is Gus' sister, people. You guys, like, what's wrong with you guys? But when did you, because your vocals when did you realize that, you know what, I can do this thing when it comes to music?
Well, you know what, EJ, you have a little bit of a background scoop, but from being a very little girl, I just love singing, from as early as I can recall, in Liberia, maybe 5-6 years old, my very earliest memories, I used to walk around the yard singing, making up my own songs and stuff like that. So I always loved singing. And I started writing music maybe 8-9 years old. Wow. And I used to beg my mom to let me go on Star Search. Back in the day, they used to do this show called Star Search. and you have to send your video, your VHS of you singing or whatever. And I used to beg her, please send my video, please send my video. And she was like, you said what? You better go to school.
Go to school.
So it was just always something. I think I was probably born with the love of music. But when I recognized that it could be something, maybe I could do it professionally, it was actually a friend of mine, and I think a friend of yours too, that encouraged me to launch out and do my first album. And so he supported me. He financed the whole thing. He was like, no, Jada, you got to do this. Yeah, my friend Musa. It was like, yeah, Musa was like, no, Jada, you have to. I don't care what happened. I don't care what I got to do. You got to put a CD out, So that's kind of the first time I really started dabbling into it and taking it seriously.
Amazing. And Musa, I'm going to say this because it's like there have been two people on this show who have given props to Musa. So Baku, when Baku came on the show, Musa actually introduced her to her husband.
Yeah.
And now so man, Prosecco, Liberia, what's going on?
Yeah, you ready?
I know, but you know what? So when you realize, because music is like all the different genres. Why gospel music? Was it a calling? Was it your purpose? Like, why gospel music?
Yeah, like I said, from a little girl, I was always singing and writing music. I used to write love songs to my mom, songs to my papa, all kind of stuff. But when I got saved, really, the songs just started. It was like water or something. They just were coming out. Every day I was given, new songs and stuff. And I think that was the only kind of thing that stirred up a fire on the inside of me to really deliver in the way in which I deliver it. So I don't know if I could deliver, in the same way for another, genre, just singing pop or something like that. It's personal to me because, I love God. I know where he took me from. I know how he lifted me up. And so when I sing about him or to him, it's very personal. And I think it comes through in the music. So I do other musics. I don't limit myself to, only gospel. I can sing anything, but, the passion really falls within this genre for me.
And so I was talking to those who were watching before you came on, and I was letting them know that, there was a part of my life, which I won't say I retired now. I think I took a break. Then COVID happened. But there was a part of my life where I was in the church choir, I was in praise and worship, and I was in all that stuff. Yeah. And I was telling them, I said, I think for me, it was very purposeful. Singing and worshiping God, I don't think people understand the purpose behind it. I think for me, it was very purposeful. It was the only way at that time that I knew how to say thank you to God. I knew how to express how I was feeling. I knew how to express my deep, songs for me, that when I listen to a song, there are things that I take from it. There are things that I take from that song and I apply it to my life. So for me, gospel music has always been a lifestyle. It's never been like, sing gospel today. No, it's always been like in my car now, just gospel music playing all day. My son be like, Daddy, can we listen to something else? Oh no, Tasha Cobbs just came on. We can do this. That's gonna be a whole moment when I do this. But as people say, they will say, you're a career woman, you're a wife, you're a mother, you're a musician. Has there been any challenges that you've dealt with over the years, juggling all this stuff together? I know you said, it works out, but
it worked out, but there's a lot of challenges. I'm generally a very driven person where I'm just like, I'm doing it, any kind of mountain in my way, we figure it out, but it's challenging, you know what I mean? Because anytime you choose something, you're saying no to something else in that moment. And so there are times where I can't be, at a particular, function for, school or for my children, something, because I have to record something at the studio, or because I have to be at an event that I committed myself to. Or, when I'm working, with regard to my clients, I usually try to be focused on that at that time, right? There's in my opinion, although I have many hats, they don't all go on at the same time, simultaneously, right? we can't. When it's time to work, when it's time to go to trial, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm focused on, because it requires all of my energy. And the same thing with my children, the same thing with the music. So I think everything should have its own lane, its own dedicated time, and you should be purposeful about how you allot the time to it. And we have 24 hours in a day. We sit down. I mean, if sometimes, you look at your phone and you spend 2-3 hours on, nonsense, and those hours could be used purposefully. So I'm trying to be very deliberate with how I spend my time, because I have so many loves and passions that require all of my energy.
So you've been in I would say the gospel music industry for a long time. You've put out some amazing CDs. You put out some amazing tracks. I mean, it's been dope. But can you just give us one of your greatest moments as a gospel artist?
Wow. I've been really blessed. I still kind of feel like I'm new because, when we first started, it was like nobody was doing it in Liberian, the way we were doing it. And it was kind of a hobby, so I kind of feel like this last album is really when I'm really jumping out and doing it well. But I think one of the greatest moments for me, I remember it was from my first album, the Remember the Blood album. Again, with Musa, we were in the studio. I had written a song called I Am Who He Says I Am. Yeah. And we had finished recording the song, and the engineer played it on the on the system. And when I heard the song and I was listening to the words, I literally broke down. Even though I wrote the song, the Lord gave me the song, but it was kind of like autobiographical, because it was just like, oh my God, you've really moved me from this space into who you want me to be. And so it was just a very emotional moment for me. And it was the catalyst for everything else that has come to follow. So I think that was one of the most amazing moments for me personally.
And I think you took us right into the right space, because I was about to ask you that moment, that song, what inspired you to write that song?
Yeah, as a young girl, you go through initially, when you immigrate to the United States, or when I immigrated to the United States, I was different, than everybody else. You know what I mean? I had an accent. I am very dark skinned. I wasn't, and when we moved to the whitest, we moved to someplace in Michigan, Lansing, Michigan. So I was extremely, exactly.
You were extremely black.
I was blackety black. Okay? Blackety black.
Yes.
So an African. And so I was dealing with, I would say, I don't want to say identity crises. And I didn't have a lot of Liberians around me, other Africans. I was just taken from my life that I knew, and we were thrown into this new, completely, different life. And people were judging me, and people were, I didn't feel like I belonged necessarily. And so I struggled internally with a lot of those issues, like, where do I really belong, and who really am I? And it wasn't until, I got saved that God really showed me who I was. And I don't want to keep talking for long, but, it was, I get the songs, initial songs were kind of like autobiographical. Most of them were kind of just everything that I was going through, whatever the Lord was telling me, I was pouring out in music. Now it's more of my experience with him and what he wants me to say to the people, not necessarily about me. It came a point in time where he kind of shifted the way I wrote music into not just about your experiences and being inspirational to other people, but about him and glorifying him. And so, yeah, the songs can come from anywhere. I can be sitting in a church listening to a sermon and I will get a word. I can be watching a show, get a word, talking to you right now, opinionated, outspoken, and it like a song can come into my spirit. So it happens at any time, but I try to be purposeful about being quiet and listening to him.
So that's amazing. And so over the last, I would say, couple of years, I think it's been a lot. We have seen this crossover with a lot of pop artists, or a lot of, just outside of the genre, connecting with gospel artists. One, of course, I talk about, like, Tasha, Cobbs, and Nicki Minaj. They did an amazing song. It was dope. I love it. And so, is there one of those pop artists or one of those, R&B or trap artists that you think I can probably collaborate with them and make
trap, child?
You want to trap? Hey.
You know what? Actually, I wondered. I struggled with this one too. Initially, I was like, I mean, you got to be careful who you attach your brand, your music to, because there's so many. We don't. Everything is watered down, to an extent. I'm not saying that we got to be over super spiritual and hypocrites and everything like that, but it's like, I'm not really going to be singing with you and you wearing a thong and, pasties and stuff like that, because it's not reflective of, my God and what I represent. Not that there's anything wrong with it. There's a place and time for it. But because that's not my lane, it feels weird. But there's many, many artists that I would love. I would love to work with Tori Kelly. I mean, she's kind of a Christian pop artist. I love Tori Kelly. A lot of I like Tony Braxton.
Oh.
Somebody said I should come sing with Tony Braxton. I'll be ready to go. I like a lot of the Liberian, those guys that do hip hop and those kind of stuff.
Okay.
I don't know everything they're saying, but I just kind of like their energy, So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think gospel music is for everyone. It should be inclusive, not exclusive. So once somebody is genuine, I don't think there's an issue.
So, like I said earlier, I've been in the choir and I've done stuff. You sing gospel music, you're a music director. There is this thing that we hear. And I think I remember saying it a couple of minutes ago. They try to tell us that there's a difference between ministering and performing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you being a solo artist, who I would say there are times where you do give a great performance, and then you also minister. So for you personally, is there a difference with ministering and performing, or do they work together?
I think they work together. I think they work together. I really do. And I know I've heard, it's kind of the same argument, whether it's is the person anointed or they just talented.
Yeah.
I think they work together, because the Bible said there shall be a performance in certain instances. And there are certain instances where the Lord will show out to show his majesty, right? And so I think people do that as a way to minimize someone who's very talented in performing, in my own opinion. I think that somebody who is not as maybe well-rounded as a performer, will make themselves feel better by saying, oh, they're not ministering or something like that, in my opinion. But I do think they go hand in hand. You cannot, if you want to just be a minister, then you really, you should stick to the church setting. Even in the church, there's a performance.
Yeah.
There's a performance aspect to it, period. But in order for it to be a ministry, because what is ministry really, right? Ministry is service. That you must be impacting something. And so the performance aspect will always be there anytime you're standing in front of people. You can't just come the way you would do it in your house to the Lord, or the way you would worship in your closet to the Lord. You can do that in certain circumstances, but if you're doing things to sell, you're making albums or songs to sell, there has to be a performative aspect. And I don't think it's a negative thing. People try to, over spiritualize things and say, oh, you're not really ministering, you're performing, or Jada's a minister, she's a worshiper. And the other one is just a performer.
Exactly.
And it's not true. I am a worshiper, but I think that worship comes in all forms. It's not just about, slow music and lifting your hand, rolling down on the floor. It comes in all forms. So.
And so I like the way you ended it, because I was going to this slow music, 2 slow music, 3 fast music, and 4 fast music. Like, where did that come from?
For now.
Because I'm like, why do we have to start off jumping and then we got to, like, why can't we just mix it up and do what we got to do? Like, why is that so important that a lot of churches think you should do that when it comes to music?
I mean, when I think back to, biblical sort of representation of praise and worship, let's say, where the Levites, you were leading, the congregation, everybody in song. Sometimes there would be praise songs. There's moments where it calls for praise, where it's a high praise, a lifting up of the Lord and that kind of thing. And then there's moments where it calls for reverence and an intimacy. And so I think when you're not being thoughtful, it's just easy to do it like that, because you kind of can encapsulate everything in one sort of 30-minute period. But, when I was doing the directing of the choir, sometimes we would just do 30 minutes of just worship, intimate worship, because that's what the Spirit was saying that the congregation needed at the time. And so I think anytime you box yourself in and just do what is sort of ceremonial or what is usually done, you don't allow, the Spirit to move. And also, and besides even just gospel music, just music in general, you have to open yourself up, and I think that's when the magic really happens. So the answer is, I don't know where they really came from with the formula, but I believe that you should really open yourself up and allow yourself to be led. So there's no formula for it. Music is creative. Music is drawing outside of the box. So.
And so going back to this whole, performing and ministering and stuff like that. And, there is this thing where I've noticed, as people sing and they get off stage and people say, oh, great job. And they say, oh, praise be to God. And for me, it used to annoy me when I first say, I'm like, you just did something great. It ministered to that person. Why can't you say, oh, thank you? Like, they're complimenting on this gift that God gave you. Yes, praise be to God. But it becomes like this spiritual act. Like, I don't want to take the glory. I want people to know that it's God. So as a music director and a musician, like, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, I have two thoughts. I think that, anytime, and I'll just personally for me, anytime I go to minister somewhere or sing somewhere or perform somewhere, even in church, a lot of times you get people that will come and say, oh my God, God bless you. It was amazing. That I would say, oh, we tell God thank you or something like that. Or God bless you. I usually say, well, God bless you. And I think one of the reasons why it's important to, give God the glory, you can say thank you. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
I think it's important that you give God the glory either there at that moment or in your house, because you don't want to make it seem like it's really you, because yes, you're the vessel that's being used, but particularly when it comes to gospel music, you're the vessel that's being used, but he can use anybody. So you give him back the glory is true. But I do think that some people have taken it and it's kind of like a pretense, and it's kind of like, a close of fake humility. That some people do, but I don't see anything wrong with giving God the glory, because the fact is all blessings come from him. So as long as it's done with a genuine heart and genuine intentions, there's nothing really wrong with it. And you can appreciate God for what he's given to you and what he's doing through you.
Okay. And so, looking at that, I was going to, they have these things where, you go to concerts. So this happened to me. You go to concerts and you see people screaming and yelling. Like I tell these people all the time, one of the best concerts I've been to is Beyonce concert.
Yeah.
It's because she gives you every cent that you spend. Her performance is amazing. Now I take it to some gospel concerts. It's like 2 songs and they walk off the stage. You're like in the moment. You guys are having a whole great moment. You're worshiping God and people switch the song. Like, it's for me, I think sometimes it's getting better. But I think for us who do, like, I love going to concerts and stuff like that, it makes you question the authenticity of the gospel music or gospel concert.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of Beyonce's concerts myself, and, I love it because why? She gives a performance. It's drama. It's, it's theater, it's dance, it's sound, it's video. It's affecting all of your senses, and I don't know why people come up with the idea that gospel music should not be elevated to the level of that. Or we're supposed to be singing and uplifting the excellent God. So you shouldn't just show up one morning, wake up one morning, and whatever you're wearing and come. You have not warmed up. You have not practiced. You have not done anything talking about, we give God the praise. No. The Bible specifically says that he was the Lord was looking for skilled musicians. Okay, skilled musicians. David, they were skilled musicians with what they were doing, and so that's kind of different from what you said, but that annoys me when people just take gospel music and just feel like they can just jump out one morning and do anything. It requires work. It requires work as well. But with regard to the authenticity, I can't really judge anybody's authenticity, what they do or what they don't do. I do believe that some people think it's easier to do gospel music because, again, what we're saying, the standard, you know what I mean? People just feel like, oh, because I'm singing to God, that everybody just got to clap for me, or somebody just got. No, we don't. You need to be skilled in that particular area that you're delving into. If you're not skilled in the area, then learn, then work, develop your craft. But don't just, jump up Sunday morning and go to Radio Shack and sing any kind of thing and then say people should accept it because you're singing gospel music. It doesn't work that way. No, thank you.
Not Radio Shack.
What do you do?
Oh my God. But I think we've had this experience, and so I want to ask you, directing choir and stuff like that. How did you deal with people who can sing, but they really want to sing and they want to be in the choir or the person worship?
One thing about me, EJ, is that what we call you on this, Edwin. One thing about me is that I believe in being honest and direct to people. And I believe that it's important to redirect with love, and being a choir director or something like that, you are underneath the pastor, meaning whatever the rules and regulations of the house is what you have to adhere to. Right. And so a lot of times, a lot of the smaller churches, they just accept anybody who wants to serve in that department because, we need people to serve. We need people that will show up here, whether you can sing or you can't sing. But for me personally, I think it's best to redirect someone, and say, what, perhaps the choir is not the right place for you right now, but the drama team would be an amazing opportunity for you. There's the ushering department. You can join them and bless the Lord that way. Or, I think it's better. Your gifts will be better served. You know what? We had a story in my church. I shouldn't have said that because Nando would know who I'm talking about. Anyway, there was someone some years ago that really loved to sing. I mean, loved to sing, but could not sing. And when I say could not sing, I mean could not sing on any level. And it was kind of distracting. It wasn't even just like, okay, you kind of in the middle and whatever. No, it was just like distracting. And we redirected that individual. We said, you know what, God bless you. You can bless the Lord anywhere. But when it's in this office, you really have to have the requisite skills. So, please, the ushering department, the doors are open.
And I like that you say that because I think a lot of people, and I would just say this, I might be totally off, but in Pentecostal churches, I think that is a major problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a major problem because you have people who, they just think that the praise and worship, the choir, just come on Sunday morning and put something together and do it. And they don't know the back end of it. And I say this because I did this. And I remember we had a concert.
Jack put something together.
I'm telling you, there was somebody who, after one concert we did, we worked for 6 months, 8 hours every other day. People who are in college working all that stuff, and we put out a concert. And after the concert, a couple of this person came to join us, and it was like, when we're like, okay, we have practice Saturday. That practice is from 12 to 6. They include dancing and all that stuff. She said, we have to do all of this. I can't do this. I thought we just come on Sunday morning and sing, and I'm just going to flow with you. And I'm just like, no flow here. But you see, for me, I always thought that it was disrespectful because I think in Pentecostal, in African churches, I would say this way, there is no respect for music. People don't really respect music or musicians when it comes to that. We don't pay musicians. We don't think that the drummer's supposed to get paid or the piano guy, and all these people are supposed to get paid, whereas there are other people who doing other services within the church who are getting paid. So just all these little things that I feel is like that's what discourage people to get into gospel music, because it's like there's no level of respect when it comes to our African culture. But can you just touch on that?
Absolutely, EJ. Of course, everything that we're saying with a grain of salt, knowing fully well that there are variations, that there are exceptions to the rule. We're speaking in general terms, and I think there is that there is truth in what you're saying, because many times African churches or smaller churches don't place value on the music or the musician. They place value on the music in the sense that it plays a big role in the service. You know what I mean? But they don't they don't necessarily value the musicians. And how do you know that someone values you? You know that someone values you by either the money they're spending on you or the resources they're providing for you. And it's okay if, for example, if I'm a member of a church, I'm not going to ask to be paid for anything because I'm a member of the church.
Mhm.
However, if you want me to be doing, working in that capacity full time, all the time, which is essentially what it is when you direct.
What it is when you're volunteering.
Yeah, exactly. That person needs to be supported. Okay. That person needs to be supported either, financially or when encouragement. I have a friend in Maryland there that although his church didn't pay him when he was time for him to do his album, the church gave him $20,000 and said, hey, you've been serving here for 15 plus years. You never asked for a dime. Take this $20,000 seed, make an amazing album, go all over the place. That is the kind of support and lifting that encourages people. But, it's again, people say because it's for God, that is just kind of like, oh, just do it for the Lord from your heart. You can't pay God. Nobody can pay you but God. But somebody's paying you, aren't they? So.
And my God love excellence. And so in order for me to give an excellence service, I need to receive all the benefits or receive everything to prop me up so I can provide that excellent service.
Exactly. And it's important that people understand that, and work with the musicians. And if you don't, then you will have the level of, music that you have. But you can see some of the churches that do value and respect that, see the difference in the atmosphere, in the service, when you have skilled musicians who are supported by the ministry, who are encouraged by the ministry, and who are developed by the ministry. Because even if you're not getting paid, if there's events that they will sponsor, and that there's lessons that will teach you how to maybe read music or play the piano or whatever. Once you see that your gift is being developed and flowered and risen up, you will be excited to do more. But oftentimes it's just kind of like expected of you to work. And, that's how people give, like your friend that came talking about, I just expected to flow with you. Because she's saying, y'all want me here for 8 hours and where y'all want me to, I was flow with y'all on Sunday morning.
No, and it's like, and I think there are so many things that happen in the background when it comes to being in a choir, being a praise and worship, that a lot of people don't understand. Because for other ministries, for example, like if you're an usher, they do have little things, but you come on Sunday morning and you serve, and when you're done, you leave, except for a little prayer, maybe, or a little gathering. That's it. But when it comes to the musicians, they're there for Bible study. They're there for whatever event they're having that they need music. Sometimes when the pastor is going away to preach, yep, we need some people to come and sing. Like, dude, like all those things that people don't realize, that all those things happen when it comes to the church. Right. And so, I wanted to ask you this because this is what I do, and I wanted to see if how you think about it. But I have a thing when I go to church and the music is bad, I kind of walk out.
You kind of walk out? Ooh.
I leave. Yeah.
Wow.
I know I'm working on it. Because I've been around music so much, I'm just like, y'all don't mess up my whole spirit. I'm gonna go home. I'm telling you, like, that's why. Maybe that's why I'm just stuck in Bethel. I can't go nowhere.
I know, right? And no harvest, right? No,
harvest, exactly. Yeah. So I just
distracting. It's very distracting to the spirit when it's just like you in somewhere and then somebody on the microphone and the noise is just, maybe something is busting. It's distracting. You can't even pay attention to the word that's coming. And so it is distracting. However, I think you need to get to a point, EJ, where you can kind of close down the distraction and just go inside, go on the inside and focus on your relationship and your worship to him, regardless of the noise or the discord that may be happening on the outside. Because at the end of the day, we all have a finite amount of time. And so when you're there already, you might as well go into and worship. There's sometimes when I enter a space, not necessarily if the music is bad, but if the atmosphere is off, or I'm not comfortable with it, is like something is wrong in this environment. It's not necessarily a godly environment, in my opinion, in a church. Sometimes I get that, what I'll end up doing, I'll just go inside and I'll just be praying. I'll just be praying inside to myself, be praying to the Lord, and so that's what I would suggest you do. Not necessarily walk away. There may be moments in the discord that would reach you, so.
Yeah, but before we leave here, we heard that there is an album coming up. So we need to have a conversation about that new album. So what's going on with that new album?
EJ, it has been, there are songs coming out, let's just say, okay? By the grace of...
Yeah, we want that whole album.
No,
let me tell you this right now. They said during this COVID, if all the musicians say you guys don't come up with albums because of this COVID, we got problems with you.
First of all, the musicians you're talking about, they got people backing them, right? They're spending money. So when y'all ready, if y'all want to donate, please feel free. You know, the people that say like, but Jada, you lawyer, you need no money. Oh, really? I need the money. No, we got music coming out. I'm very excited. We've recorded 3 songs so far this year, and we pray that 3 of them will come out. Definitely did not even we prayed. They're coming out this year. We have one coming out in the next few weeks. It's a little different for me. It's a I call it a Afrobeat kind of vibe. We wanted to do something a little different this summer because I'm like the ballad queen. I love ballads. I love, worship songs, slow music. That's kind of my wheelhouse. But this one is a little upbeat. You can rock to it. You can dance to it. You can be on the beach, where you're on the hammock and the music.
Okay.
So y'all who go to Liberia every 5 minutes, y'all can be there.
In December. We'll be dragged.
Me too.
Okay.
And so the song is called Grateful. I think it'll be coming out maybe the first week in July. It's called Grateful, and it really talks about this experience that we've had with COVID-19. It really is like, coming out of the darkness that we've been in and really appreciating God for allowing us to tell the story, because some people, we kind of just look at it as a thing, but it was we lost, millions. I don't even know how many billions of human beings on this earth. We lost 600,000 people, brothers, sisters, mothers that were here, part of this human family that are no longer here as a result of what we've experienced. So I wanted to do a song that will just kind of glorify God and thank him for allowing us to be here to tell the story.
Amazing. And so we're excited for that because I can't wait to hear that. We can't wait to hear that because we know it's going to be dope. We're going to be going, hey. So I can't wait for that. Okay, I can't wait for that. But before we run out of time, I wanted to ask you, there are people who are watching. There are people, there's a young girl who might want to get into music, who might want to try this gospel thing out. Somebody said we do need more Afrobeat gospel, by the way.
We got it, though.
Okay, we on that.
Please go in and we on it. We're gonna give it to y'all this year.
So before I ask the question, let's tell the people how they can find you, how they can follow you, and subscribe to you.
Please, you can find me on YouTube at Jada Mayson. There's like a whole bunch of Jada Masons there, but my Mason is a Y, Mayson. So JADA Just go there and do your girl a favor and subscribe to me there. I'm on Instagram at Jada Mayson Music. I'm also on Facebook at Jada Mayson. So what is the other thing? The website, jadamayson.com.
Okay. And so you want them to subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Instagram.
That is correct. Yes, exactly what he said.
Yes. And so for a young girl who's watching, who trying to figure out her life, I would say, you have the great package. We didn't talk about Brother Stanley, but I'm going to say, what's up, Brother Stanley? Hey, Stanley.
He watching upstairs.
What's up, Brother Stanley? So, it's like all these, you have, some people will say, you have the great package. You're a career woman, you're a wife, you're a mother, you have everything going on. You're a musician. For a young girl who's trying to do all these things, what can you say to her to propel her to do what it is that she wants to do?
I will tell her that, she deserves it. First of all, you deserve it. We have a lot of naysayers that will tell you, who are you to try to do this? Who are you to try to do that? You deserve it. If God has given it to you, if God has placed it in your heart, it is for you to birth out. It is for you. It is destined for you. So please do not limit yourself because of what everybody else is saying or what you have seen or what you may even believe on yourself. I would tell that young girl to just begin wherever she is right now. Wherever you are, if you're in Africa, if you're in the if you're in the Western world, wherever you are, if it's a love for music, begin writing, begin interacting with people who are doing what you want to be doing. So if you want to be singing gospel music, start interacting and listening to all kinds of gospel music and buying music and listening to music and supporting music and reaching out to those that are doing it, and recognize that there is nothing that you cannot do. Everything that is great already starts from in the inside of you. So just walk with the authority that God has given to you, recognize that you deserve it and that you can do it, and reach out for help. You never know. Sometimes you think that you're all alone, but if you just send, especially now in this digital age, everybody's connected with social media and everything. Reach out for help, send out your stuff, offer your services, because you have to contribute sometimes. If you know you can sing or you can write, say, listen, can I come and hang out with y'all in the studio, or can I come and do this? Put yourself in the proximity of people who are doing what you're doing. Trust the gift that God has given to you and move forward with every deliberate power that you have without looking back, because you deserve to be wherever it is that God has told you you're going to be.
Well, I know you answered this question, but somebody just asked a question. How do you balance everything?
Yeah, I balance it by finding, number one, I need help sometimes. Okay. You're not going to do everything on your own. Don't let all of this, everybody, believes everything is perfect all the time. It is not. You have to make efforts at getting help, and get yourself into a system. The more kind of a systemized your house is, like it runs. By 9 o'clock, all the children got to be sleeping, because I know I need to take time to read,
Yes.
I need to take time to study. I need to take time to do those things. So it's not going to work if you're disorganized. You have to be an extremely organized person. And so that's one of the things that I work hard at, making sure that I'm organized and making sure that I find time to rest and refuel. We didn't talk about it, but it's very important. You can do a lot of things if you have restful periods. Okay. You can't just go all the time. You need some time to pull back, some time for reflection and inflection. So I love all the things that I do. I would not trade it for the world of being a mommy. I would not trade it for the world of being a wife. I would not trade it for the world of being a singer. I would not trade it for the world of being an attorney. So all those things then require time, and I make time for it. Less of the fluff and more of what's important.
Amazing. And so we are almost out of here. We have 1 more minute left.
Ah.
So I am super excited. I say thank you for being on this show. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Just giving us an opportunity to know more about you. It's been great. And I tell people who are watching, if you've not had the Jada Mayson experience, you need to have the Jada Mayson experience, because I have had it. And the last time with you and the soiree guy and all those people, at that time it used to be called Bethel. That was an experience.
Yeah, something else. You said the soiree guy.
Yeah, the soiree guy. Like, that's how I call him.
You know what, EJ? This year, you know what? You didn't ask the question, but look out. This year, we are going to be moving. We are going to be moving. We got a lot of, since outside open now, we coming.
Like, there you go. We're going.
We coming. We have stuff coming up this next month in Jersey. I'll be in Maryland. I'll be posting all those things.
You gotta post it, because we need to go. And there is this thing now. It's like a TikTok. This summer is going to be something. I don't even know this song how to say it, but this summer is going to be dope, because you're gonna be out. We're all gonna be out, so we're ready for the music.
We're ready, and we're ready.
And somebody just said, I don't talk all this song about you. Can you just sing something? I didn't say it. They said it.
They funny.
Yes, they did. She said, can you sing a little bit?
No problem. But EJ done told y'all can find me on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the different places. somebody must sing for you on live. What should we sing?
So what should we sing, guys? Ram, you asked the question. You said you want her to sing. What can she sing?
Okay, I would say. He said what?
They ain't saying it. They said LOL.
I'll sing one of my songs, so that's all I do. Jesus did it all for me. Jesus did it all, and now I am free. Oh, Jesus did it all for me. Jesus did it all, and now I am free. God bless you, Ram.
Look, you see, I told y'all need to have the Jada Mayson experience. But Jada, it was great having you here. We appreciate you. Thank you. And you will be coming back. So I just need to know you will be coming back, but it was great. And you have an amazing day. Thank you for blessing us. Just one thing you want to say to us?
I want to say thank you. I want to say we love you, EJ. I'm so proud of you. Look at you doing it.
Hey.
Thank you to all of the new people that will follow me. Make sure you text me or whatever, message me and let me know that you heard me on the conversation, outspoken and opinionated, so I can keep you kind of in the Jada Mayson family. God bless you guys.
Okay, Jada, have a good time. Bye-bye. Hey guys, so like I said, that was Jada Mayson, and I told you guys, if you had not had the Jada Mayson experience, you need to go ahead, get the Jada Mayson experience. Again, she's on YouTube, Jada Mayson. She's on Facebook, Jada Mayson. She's also Jada Mayson Music. So on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere you want to go, you can find her. So please get ready. She said there's some music coming out soon. You're gonna hear it. Go ahead, guys. This was The Conversation, Outspoken Opinionated. Of course, I am your host, Edwin Maya. I'll see you next week. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, The Conversation, on Facebook, The Conversation, Outspoken and Opinionated, on YouTube, The Conversation, Outspoken and Opinionated. And again, we are on Spotify, guys. So go ahead, listen to us, and it's going to be great. You all have a great